from a very young age.
Seen that a lot this weekend. A lot of players who I didn't know that much 2 years ago. After 2 years off, I usually try and follow things, but there's a lot of new players. Chalk has a number of guys who I don't really know that well or making big plays for them all over the place. Kuz Bread Bulls, as I said, just took Clapham 15-12, so the youth is strong here in Bruges.
We'll see how it all plays out. Here comes Catchup. 79 with the disc. Sent forward. Trashnig sends it out of bounds, though. And KFUM will have a chance to get it back. Yeah, Ravi, after a 2-year break, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's always the new young guns on the scene. And a 2-year break, like, a sophomore player, so to speak, we're using American terms, isn't the young gun anymore. He's had 1 year of being recognized, and then he's in his second year, and we're expecting a bit more. And a lot of players missed that rookie breakout season. And it's like we've got this double cohort of rookies kind of breaking on right now. And you're right, you get these big rosters, and there's 7, 8 guys you've never heard of, and a lot of the time you can discount those guys you've never heard of, and there's less discountability because of that off year.
Give me a good idea to probably try and run a breakout player of the tournament in each division. It's a good idea, good article idea for me, because there's a lot of competition for it.
Yes, definitely. I mean, double in any other given year, so more people to consider. It means more research for you, Ravi, but I know you love the work, so I'm sure you'd be happy. That one hit right in the guts and drops off of Paul Dragschnig's hands and goes to turf. And KFUM, a nice chance here. They could bring it back to within 2. And they're going to try to do it in one shot. Can he get there? He goes to turf with a roller into ground. Simon Ackerling, but not into goal, but only millimeters away. And that one popped onto Adam Blomgren. And we're within 2.
That's a break for KFUM.
Now, do they go by KFUM?
I do not know.
Okay, we're going to have to get to the bottom of that one, too. I still like the radio call letters, but I mean, I can go with KFUM. We can
Radio KFUM.
We can call them an acronym rather than an initialism. Any way you slice it, we're happy to go that way. But we do got to get to the bottom of this. We'll find a KFUM player coming by eventually, and we will get that information. Until then, that's 2 in a row, a hold and 1 on the bounce. They got to keep that D-line in there. We've been seeing mostly individual match defense, not much zone on a very windy day, which is a bit of a surprise. Maybe, for me, when you want to get the run going, when your defense is dictating the pace, this is the time to give a little change, okay? They just got you, they held, they get the break, the offense is staying out on the field. Okay, we got to deal with what we just saw, and then give them something else to look at. So it could be a nice moment for a little wrinkle.
Interesting tips from Coach Steph Rapazzo.
Coach Steph, I need my own team to respond to my coaching sometimes too. They do respond well. My coaching needs to be on all the time. I criticize myself very harshly as well sometimes. So. From the coaching seat, it's easier in the commentary seat to talk about what coaches should do or opinion. And I'm not making excuses. I think I've done a good job with Isno, and I think they're doing a very good job, but we've run into some stiff competition that's made us look less prepared than we want to be, but we're still in good stead. Our next game is the important one, and we can still advance the way we want to if we get that one. So back to this game. Catchup Kraz sends a outside in. He fell, lost his balance there, and we may have information here. Okay, Ravi, what did we get here from our field correspondent?
So we were told that in English they go by KFUM.
Okay, call letters, radio station.
But in Swedish it's KFUM.
KFUM.
I don't know if I got that exactly right. My Swedish isn't exactly on point.
Yeah, mine either.
It's hard on this continent too in commentary for these teams.
Oh yeah, the languages just differ so much. There's so much deviation between
so many of them.
The accents, the languages, the intonations. It's I mean, we just played the Danish. They're so rough and hard, their Nordic tongue. But they're probably just saying nice things to each other. Sweden, KFUM KFUM as we call them. Here they come, looking for what would be a break train beginning, but that's not going to happen, or not right away anyways, as Jonathan Breitenhalle smacks that one away. And now they're shooting to him in the end zone. He reads it well, defense couldn't get there, and that is the end of any of this break train nonsense. And this is the end of any ultimate for just a small break, because they've taken half with that one, Ravi.
Yeah, looking good from Catchup there to able to get the disc back. It's frustrating in this win situation. Sometimes you lose it mentally, especially after you get broken once, but they held their composure, put the pressure on D, and that was a nice little kind of explosive D. Let Jonathan Engelgaard get a little bit open, give him a little window, and then shut the window down when they threw the pass. An immediate score afterwards. So Catchup still in the driver's seat here. KFUM showing signs of trying to come back, and we'll see what happens in the second half.
We will see what happens in the second half. We're going to take a very short break and be back with you by the time this game is ready to go. Don't you go anywhere. Stay locked on ULTI.TV, and we'll see you very soon. Back in action here in the mixed division in Bruges. EUCF is back, and so is ULTI.TV. KFUM squaring off against Catchup Graz. They open up on O, and they didn't want to open up on O. They give it right back with an errant throw to turf, and Catchup Graz, Geisel, picks up with a chance to set the break train in motion here.
It's nice to see Geisel back with an Austrian club after playing with Lafota for a few years. Now back on his home turf, or with his home team.
Home team, Krenz. And that one gets away from her. She threw with a practically straightened elbow before on her windup, and that one was never going to go anywhere. It got away from her. She can't be happy. She'll have to earn that one back. Let's see if she can get the D. I love when players get the D when they made the error. But she didn't have to, somebody else, and this is a 3 turnover point, but there will not be a 4th. Catchup Graz get the leading throw in for goal, and if that man would turn around, I would tell you his name, but I can't see his number.
So KFUM looking a bit out of sorts here. The first turnover was actually, I was talking about both of these women before, it was Alva Engelgaard to Vendela Victorson, who in my eyes are 2 of the star female players on this team. Not able to connect, and then just a kind of dump pass into a mark there for the second turnover. Not really playing mentally very strong. They got the fire on D. They do manage to create some turnovers, but their offense is not totally there this game.
Yeah, conversion it's such a fine line to balance your D line. Like, can you just put 7 athletes out there that will continually get the D? They'll continually lay out and put their body on the line. They'll get the D, but they can't. You can't get the handles. You can't get the throws. You can't, like, do you gotta start? Is this when you gotta start pulling people over from the O line, weaken your D line's potential to get a D by increasing their ability to convert? It's such a fine balance. Like, you got to go job 1 first is get the D. Then you go job 2. Like, if you rebalance that line and put your throwers out, and then you stop getting Ds, well, you've shot yourself in the foot on the other foot. So they got to do something. We know that now. I'd say at this stage of the game, after some failure, they got to move a handler over or change their tactic on their setup, whatever they run their conversion with.
So far, it's also been their O-line making a lot of errors, so I would say it's a tough argument to pass some people over if your O-line's not getting the job done themselves.
Right.
So we'll see how things go here as KFUM try to recover from that break in the first points of the half.
Here comes KFUM. We'll go the Swedish version for a moment anyways. Haraldsson goes the big around. Nice grab by number 8, Simon Ackerling. Gets up for that one. Centering. Now shot deep. Looks just too far in front for Vendela Viktorsen, the young rising star, but didn't have a chance to lay out for that one. The throw just a bit too far in front.
I think it's the first time KFUM is coming in the mixed division. I've seen them at the UCF level in open before.
Okay.
And like I said, both their open and women's teams played at the EUICC. And I did hear that they were struggling a bit in their game against Putti, struggling to play mixed. The men and women didn't play together that often. And there you see like the huck connection maybe a bit too far for a top female receiver. It's something they have to work on if they want to become an elite mixed team. They do have talent on both teams, but need to figure out a way to gel.
Yeah, there's, that's the Izaka situation. They only train as open and women's teams. They come together, they can win a French championship because they are 2 of the strongest opposite clubs, but they don't really have that chemistry. That's one thing about them. I don't think they would do much on a continental stage. Maybe they could prove me wrong. But there's obviously more to just having strong players on both sides. It is developing a mixed culture. As that one goes deep, Ackerling's there. Oh! Flubbed it right out of the hand, so that was in the breadbasket, and he was not looking for bread today.
Ackerling, the veteran on this team, seen him on the elite stage for a number of years now. There's a lot of youth coming up in KFUM, but he's bringing a bit more experience to the line. They're not really showing it on the flub, but was wide open on the cut.
Good cut, good throw. We won't talk about the catch anymore. So here comes Catchup Gras, a big chance to extend to a 5-point lead. It would be their biggest lead of the game. Double up on them. But they got a long way to go. Coming from their own end zone, they opt for the dump and stay in their end zone. Then they get a short gainer there. That is Kaufman, who came under. That one's too far in front, and they've given it right back. Number 18 is Alva Angergaard of the famous Angergaard family. She gets the dump, sent it to middle, and gets the disc back just inside a half. That one forwarded far side of the field. Angergaard is gone with a big blade, and that one was knocked down or just went to turf as well. But
it was a little bit of positioning, a little bit of pressure, but I don't know that he got a hand on it. But enough for Ackerling not to be able to make the catch.
Just a good box out.
I have to say, for a lot of Austrians were telling me to watch out for this Catchup team. Though they are having the lead here at the European level, a little bit of doubt keeping in my mind so far.
Ravi wants more. And KFUM, Ackerling, let's see if he can do it on the throwing end. He can. They've cashed in, and that potential for the 5-point lead has been reduced to a 3-point lead as KFUM rock and roll all day long here from Bruges cashes in again, and they're fighting, they're swinging.
Angergaard to Åkerling didn't work twice, so they just tried to flip it around. Seems to work better the other way. Åkerling to Angergaard does get them the point. And again, this is a pretty big cushion they have to overcome here, 9-6, but point difference could matter. So they shouldn't rest on the laurels, and Catchup should try and put their foot down as they tried to do with the last half, because it looks like in this pool things can get all mixed up. There could be triangles involved, and the difference in points could be the difference between going to pre-quarters or going to the lower pools.
Big difference. It's a tournament maker or breaker. These early days, you know, going down on an early day, day 1, day 2, and to lose hope of championship, whether that's your actually goal or not. But once you realize that potential has been extinguished, it can change the team. It changes the attitude. It changes the experience for all involved, all the players. So that's why they fight so hard on these first couple of days for those victories. And that is not showing the fight with that drop. 52, Sebastian Bauer. It was hot and it was low, but that was a catchable disc. And now KFUM go around and they've doped one too there. So Catchup Graz picks up. They faked it and then they've given it. The young fella, and they're giving discs away left, right, and center here. Fire sale on discs. Jungwirth puts that one to turf, and KFUM gets it again as we see this drizzle coming and going as well with the wind. There's a little bit of rainfall. Nice layout, but it gets around into the hands of Åkerling. 66 with a little slide to turf. That's Felix Anderson, and then back to Åkerling.
Yeah, the rain just kicking in here. I wonder if that's affecting some of these drops we're seeing.
Now we've gone deep, Ravi. Blomgren with a little slide as well on the sideline. Gets a nice little dump to make sure he's off and running after that slide for goal. And they jam it in the jam hole there. That one is in for number 88. And KFUM is back on the board. They're responding. They're keeping it interesting here. They've come within 2, 9-7. Their second half has been commendable and forced Catchup Graz to take a timeout and think about it. They should also think about renaming their pun while they're out there.
And the fact that this game, each point matters is nice, because you don't have to tell your team that it could be a comeback or anything like that. Just tell them 1 point at a time. Every point matters. Point difference could matter. So I think that's allowing KFUM to just keep playing even though they're down. And now we see a little bit of a comeback, a little bit of a break as a timeout is called. I'm guessing that was by Graz as they got broken. And given how their O-line played that last point with a lot of drops, that maybe just trying to take a breath, realize, hey, we got to hold on to our lead. If we want to progress in this tournament, we got to take it every point at a time as well. So we'll see how the teams sort themselves out for the remainder of this game. 51 minutes into this round. Catchup from Austria up 9-7 against KFUM from Sweden.
Great looking game. Great looking is tough, but a well-balanced game in some very ugly weather here. We've talked a little bit about the mixed division, or this pool anyways. When we go across the division, Ravi, you know, my mind first goes to the champions 2 years ago in Caorle. Both of them looking the championship game.
Yes.
Okay, so Salispils won, and they're looking very strong. They opened up with a 15-1 victory yesterday, their first game back.
Against Erdferkel, who is a team who's been in the final of UCF before. They don't have quite the same strength this year as before, but
no chumps.
Not chumps, and to get a 15-1 win is very solid. Krut as well, cruising through their pool so far. They will have to face Colorado later today, which had a similar scoreline against Fly High Lausanne, so that doesn't really say much. They both won 15-5 or so. So I mean, we still don't know if those two teams are closer. Colorado is a team that's played Krut in the final of the UCF. I believe that was 2017, so or 2018, one of those 2 years. Nice matchup there, but it does, from what I've seen with the smell test, I'm gonna see the Dutch and the Latvians in the final of this division. They look a notch above the rest. Putti seemed like they might be in with a shout, but over past couple of years, their team was already a little old before. They got a little older and don't quite look as fit, but maybe they'll turn it on in bracket play. I wouldn't count those players out. They have a lot of experience on that side. But my prediction so far, we're going to see a repeat of the last final.
Yeah, I'm with you. And if I'm picking a champion, I'm taking the Dutch this time. I think they've sharpened up just a bit more. They've got a big roster, but I think, like you said on your podcast, if they manage that right and go through the right players, like I think their top 18 are better than Salispils this year. But that will be played out. Geisel with the disc back here to this field. Catchup Graz after their timeout. Let's see if it's a time over, a turnout, or if they can work this one into a goal. Now they're on the doorstep. Geisel with it. Needs a reset or a scoring cut. Nothing developing so far. That who just gets away with it. That would have been a very high stall count. Klein Halp. And then back to Geisel for the goal. A little give-go there. And so the timeout keeps its two words in the same order. It was a timeout. It was used effectively. They marched it upfield, and despite a couple of high stall counts on the doorstep, they did knock that one in.
So it makes the score 10-7 for Catchup at this point, up by 3. Try and hold on to that lead, 54 minutes in. Catchup looking a little better at this point, maybe throwing, I think Geisel was playing more D before, but he went on to this O-line after the break. Try and bring some experience to that line. Of course, very, very storied player in Europe, as are a lot of these Catchup players. How about the Open Division, Stefan? You're playing there. What do you? I don't know if you've had a chance to see much of Clisbon Clapham, which the
I've
two
seen
favorites.
Them both play. We've lost to Clapham, so we saw that one up close and personal.
How was that one for you?
They were good. I mean, they were nice to play. We had our moments where we swung with them, but they opened up and took a 3-0 lead on us and deflated a little bit of our fighting spirit at that stage. We still fought, we went hard, but we kind of said, oh damn, this is the Clapham we know and hate, love. They look very good, so I'll give them that. La Fota, I saw lose to the Mooncatchers. I only saw about the last 4 or 5 points of that game, but they still looked good actually. They scored 2 breaks before they gave up the losing point. They still look fine. I feel like Clapham's a step ahead of the rest this time around.
I would have said that until I just saw their game against Red Bulls. They got broken 6 times in that game by Red Bull's zone defense, and the whole O-line was apparently at that game. Clapham do have some scouts that don't play every match, but apparently their whole O-line was in. That worries me a little bit, that they got broken 6 times against Red Bulls.
The Davide factor. Maybe it's something to do with Davide being in their head. We know he can get there. But Chalk with a huge win over Mooncatchers today, put themselves back in the conversation. But back on this game, Simon Akeling plays big, hangs on to that one. The score goes back to a 2-point lead. It's 10-8 now. They're hanging around. This is like Catchup's got to put them away, or things get interesting at the end of the game, especially a little bit of a weather turn or something like this at the end of this game with a 2-point lead. It really seems less comfortable with time ticking away.
Ackerling finally able to reel in a score. We saw him a few points, latter points last half, having trouble catching scores when he was wide open. This time, under a little bit more pressure, maybe it's easy for him to catch, and manages to reel one in for KFUM. This game's not over. Catchup does look like a bit of the stronger side for when I got here at the later half of the first half, but since then, Catchup made a few more mistakes. I mean, in this weather, both teams are making mistakes, and KFUM kind of playing a bit more, I think a bit better mentally after the turns now than I saw them earlier in the game. So they could turn things around here, the Swedes.
Making some good adjustments. That's what it's all about nowadays. Not even nowadays, at this level. I mean, every team is good enough to see what you're doing and make some sort of an appropriate response. Whether it's, which players you're going to go through, which setup you're going to use, what defense you're going to transition to, and these chess matches are a big part of the game. Your ability to see what they're doing, identify, assess, and then make the appropriate modifications. is very good. And to that end, like you said, KFUM have made at least a modification where they've put some focus on their conversion, and they're getting the Ds, and they're able to convert a few here and there. So good to see. As Catchup Graz now, 27. Breitenhalle got that one going, and now they're on the front foot and moving. Where they went to the front foot and then straight back to the back foot as that dump pass not only is not caught, but loses an extra 5-7 meters on the roll.
Tempting high release backhand. Tempting high release backhand works really well under still conditions, and every now and then you remember that the wind is there.
It's funny, Ackling just threw that one away, and then I saw him go to turf to pick up the grass and try and throw it in the wind, but it's turf. I'm not sure he would have got too many pieces to test the wind. Now Catchup Grass looking at a zone front in their coffin corner. That one is going to be defended, or will it? No! Double bobbled by the young lady in the collared shirt underneath. That is Cecilia Erldison. And she can't hang on. And KFUM, oh, that one gets behind. And Catchup Graz, we have a turnover party here. Apple turnovers, peach turnovers, Frisbee turnovers, get them all. As Catchup try and put those turnovers away and knock one in this time. Defense tightening up, and they're left to go backwards. And backwards is not the right direction when you've got a short field. Now, KFUM, another try. Ackling, he's now got a good gauge of the wind after throwing the turf in the air. Ackling again. Zip, zap, and turf. So, turnover number 5.
I can't keep count any more stuff.
I don't even
very
know,
sloppy point.
I don't even know any more fruit that I can associate these turnover delights to, like peach, apple. What else would you make a turnover out of?
I think we're out. We're out of the turnovers.
Okay. Maybe a lemon. No, you can do.
You a plum?
Plum turnover.
I don't know.
It's very.
We have to get creative at this point.
Is it a North American thing? A turnover? Is that? Anyways, let's put the turnovers away and put the goals in the end zone. Here they come. Catchup Graz go wide. Meshna gets a touch. The zones are resetting on the turnovers. They've gone deep. They got 2 receivers. If this one works, they've got one who stays open, and the defender didn't know where to go, and he went in the middle of both of them instead of picking one or the other, and that cost him. And Catchup, after a flurry of turnovers, they are the ones who cashed this one in, and those are the ones that feel like they count for the most. When you get 10 turnovers, 8 turnovers, 6 turnovers, and you finally get it, it just feels like there's that much more value to that goal.
It's 11-8 score in Catchup's favor. Solid lead by the Austrians. And we see Geisel ready to pull the next point. It's very important to score those marathon points. When you have a point like that with so many turnovers, and then you don't get it, you just feel like all that effort was wasted. But so that could be a big mental swing for the end of this game.
And so we haven't really talked about the ladies division, Ravi. We're here to discuss this game, but also this tournament. The women's division, not the ladies division. The women's division, I saw the Yaka game last night, their streamed game. I got to commentate that with Hannah and Rico. And they look very strong. I'll give Yaka a big shout out there. Of course, shout outs. We must talk about shout. Who else is in the conversation besides the 2 juggernauts there, in your humble opinion there, Ravi?
I would have said Jinx, but they've had a lot of tough times in their pool so far. They were down 2-6 to Frisbee. They did manage to win that one on Universe, but the Waljak-Kunzelman combo was giving them trouble early on in that game. And they were also down Disco Bolo early in the game. It had to come back. So they're struggling a bit. They have a lot of star power, but aren't really gelling quite yet.
But they're getting wins.
They're getting wins.
Okay.
But not looking like they could contend with the top.
Oh, what a bid by number 9, Vendela Victorson, the indoor star we spoke about. That bid was heavy. She hit the ground hard. and she's gonna have another chance. Double happiness, not exactly double happiness the way it goes, but the bid to save the deep and then the scoring goal. Vendela Viktorsen, a wonderful play there, standing out like the star she is turning out to be, Ravi.
Yeah, I was hoping to see more plays like that from Viktorsen. She was doing plays like that all tournament indoors and finally getting her chance here. It's not the classic double happiness. There were 2 pieces of happiness in that play for her. I think it's fair enough to say.
So do we call it 2-piece happiness instead of double happiness? I don't know if that works.
I'm not the best for wordplay. We'll have to go to our Irish compatriots. They'll probably come up with something clever for that.
Yeah, definitely. Tweedledee. No, we know we definitely will not be asking the people who gave the name to Catchup Grass for their opinion on this wordplay.
So yes, I was talking earlier about the women's division. Jinx not quite looking there, but for me the surprise is actually we have a Swedish team here, the Swedish women's team, Valkyria, who came here with very low expectations. Just wanted to come and see how they would do. Also before an indoor team. Beat Fabulous 15-7, which are previous EUCF champions, 2016 EUCF champions. So coming out with a statement. They have yet to play Yaka. That game will be streamed later on. Today? Today. It was Yaka or Shout. I'll have to double check which pool they were in.
But I did get to see a little bit of Valkyria play as well. They played the field before our game yesterday, and they did look very good. Of course, their standout player, Sarah Eklund, she's looking strong. She's looking very fast. Her defensively, she was shutting down everybody she was on. That game was against the Terrible Monkeys, but she was really standing out as a dominant player. So if that team's going and she can rise to the occasion, let's see if they could be the danger to the otherwise imminent Yaka Shout final.
They also have Barbara Kundalit on the team, another Euro star. Saskia Bake, a German World Games shortlisted player. So a lot of talent on that Valkyria roster.
All right, well, here we go. KFUM got a turn, and they are going deep. Ackling there. They're hanging around. It was 9-11, and the emergency was answered. It's 10-11, 1-point game. Ravi.
Ackerling finally getting a catch from a pass from Angergaard. They were having trouble with their connection before. Now it's working out on the turn, on the bounce. Maybe that play by Viktorsen on the previous play, sometimes that's what you need to energize your team to rise to the occasion, and seems to have fueled their D-line to make a strong, confident break on that point. And all of a sudden, it seemed like this game was going to be Catchup had a huge buffer, 9-6, I believe, when I was arriving, and it looked like it could have been more than that. And all of a sudden, the game was within 1, Stefan.
Within 1. I mean, that one play, I think it was never more than 4, but it was a doorstep for 5. We were talking about doubling up, going 10-5. And so since then, okay, they didn't get the 10. It was 9, but it's been 5-2 now for KFUM, that run the other way. And the momentum has swung. The lead remains in Catchup's hands, but that momentum has most certainly swung.
So we'll see if Catchup do lose this game, that pretty much dashes their hopes of trying to make top 3 in their pool. If KFUM lose this game, they still have a shot. But so maybe a little bit more to play for Catchup, but KFUM definitely want to secure their spot in the pre-quarter. And so far they've managed to play more at the level I was expecting out of this team in the latter part of the second half.
Let's see if they can get another turn. Ackeling's been getting a lot of burn out there, and they've generated the turn unforced. Okay, a little bit of pressure on the throw, but unforced through behind the player, and they've got their chance here to tie it up. Jonathan Angagad sets it into play, centering throw to his sister Alva, and then strong hands in the middle there by Elsa Nell. KFUM looking poised behind the disc right now. Angagad. Who's swiping fakes? Now he's gone big. Not sure who he was after there. I think he wanted Ackeling, but he was not engaged, and that one goes back to Catchup.
Squandered opportunity, but KFUM trying to trap Catchup on the sideline here with their zone.
Didn't work quite well for 2 throws anyways. They've got the space. They need a lot of open space now against the zone. It finally resets, but Catchup get it going, but they're stuck on that sideline, and they threw it into a wobbler, non-spinning disc that was uncatchable. Would have had to be a heroic kind of catch, those, waffles kind of flubbing in the air. Angagad. Great reset cut there. by Sister Angagad. I think her first name's Alva, not Sister. Push passes. Look at them getting cheeky here. Angagad, oh, throws into the layout, and Catchup are not gonna give it away that easy. They're fighting hard. Their O has been looking mediocre here, but their recovery D is fighting.
Shout out to the sponsor Tokai cleats that were being worn by that layout defensive player.
Surely the difference made. Surely the reason that layout was able to launch. That traction, the comfort, and the ability to make plays. And that one, like fake, and the look-up field looked like that was going to be thrown no matter where the player was. The focus isn't there. There's some clarity that's missing in the eyes of these catch-up players when they've got disc in hand.
So we saw Angagard make a couple throwing errors, and after now, I think they're putting it in a bit safer hands of Ackerling. Let's see if that'll change the way KFUM attack this possession.
To Angagard. He's directing traffic, and he's gone up and over, and Ackerling's there, big body, uses that big body well, and it's a tie game. The break train is well and truly rolling here, Ravi.
11-11, very effective zone there by KFUM, trying to trap on both sidelines, pretty much setting up a wall in the middle of the field, and then that center mark kind of forcing onto the sideline, the off wing kind of wall player going and guarding the dump, trying to pressure, just put as much pressure as they can once they get a team on the sideline. I saw some teams will do that and try and force to one sideline. They were either sideline, we're going to put pressure on, generating a lot of problems for Catchup, who, as you said before, looking upfield too long, not trying to reset it and throwing even if the player's not there. Need to set their concentration, try and stay away from the sideline in that situation, and try and move the disc around that wall.
Lots of time remaining here. We're into our 70th minute. Time, not an issue. I think we're probably going to see a 15th point before we see time expire. Only time will tell. But 4 points, 4 points will win this. And Catchup, you know, this is a stop the bleeding situation here. Never mind like thinking about winning this game. Like, just get a hold, like get your O-line back in order. They've changed up some personnel there. There's a few different players out there, and that's what you need to do. Meshna gets that one over to Zenz, and ooh, almost a foot on that one.
Still see that same arrowhead zone with Ackerling on the mark. That big body causing problems for the handlers.
And they've been mostly going backwards, this Austrian outfit. Zenz now. And they're playing through the middle. Their upfield players are really standing in space. They're doing nothing. And it sucks because they've got to stand there and wait. But there also needs to be, the handlers need to stop and look for a second. They need to at least fake the hammers, fake the bigs, so that the defense responds and the defense opens up. It's tough when the front of the zone can clamp down like they have been. You need a heroic effort like they're now finally putting together a 15-20 pass offensive possession, chipping their way through. And now comes the tough part, cashing it in the short field, but 77, he is on his horse there, is Sven Kleinpahl, and they finally cash it in, so never give up the lead. They let them come even, and then finally get that desperate hold that they've been waiting for.
Sure, our cameraman Felix Chardlow will be happy with that point. Catchup really didn't hold on to it ever for more than a second. Maybe 2 seconds was the longest they ever held on to the disc at that point. Really try to take every option they get immediately as they can. Never get themselves get trapped on that sideline. Just find the immediate option you can take and then just keep running after your throw, trying to generate another opportunity. Much better zone offense from Catchup there. Yeah, you're right. They weren't able to use their downfield players, but if that's what the defense is giving you, they still managed to have every throw there was solid. Nothing was contested. There was one that Ackerling almost got a paw on, but still pretty safe play by the Austrians.
Yep, agreed completely. It's I think I say that for 2 reasons, because you see them standing idly, but also because this is the 4th point in a row now. They've been out there trying to work this one out, and they've tried to work it out the way they just did, the first 3 times to failure. And so it's like, okay, but now you got it is tough. You do want to go away from your game plan. That's the game plan. But when it doesn't work for 3 points, it's like, okay, maybe we should be throwing the hammers over top. Maybe we should be getting it to the sideline and you know, outside ins, keeping it out of bounds and rolling it back in. But that's not necessarily the game plan. That's the risky play. But when you have failure, it leads you to have to implement the risky options because you feel like your bread and butter doesn't work. Oh my God, we're broken. What do? We got to try something else. And it's very nice to see that Catchup stuck with the plan. They relied on the bread and butter, and they made it work in the end. But KFUM goes to their star youngster, Victorson, and she dumps it off right away. She's in the end zone ready to catch a goal, which she's done just barely, keeping it off the turf. So we've got a great game to come to finish here now. KFUM come all the way back, tie it up. Catchup guys answer the bell. They say, okay, enough is enough. And then the second response. And now we could, if we just keep changing like this, we end up in a wonderful situation for a finish, Ravi.
Yeah, I was curious how that point was going to go because it was a long break train for KFUM. So although they're not rotating that many players out. Most players are playing both D and O at this point, but they hadn't played an offensive point in a while. Sometimes, you know, after you've had these really hot defensive points, to be able to reset, play a calm offensive point is difficult to do. They didn't play a calm offensive point. They just went to Victorson long in one throw, and then basically from there it was easy work at that point. But it worked out for him, and I'm a bit curious why Catchup would let that go. Angergaard has looked deep every time he has the disc in his hands, and I don't understand why they're not backing players like Ackerling and Victorson. They know that's what they're looking for. It's not a secret at this point. But yeah, KFUM able to do that. We're at 12-12 here. Timeout was called, I'm guessing, by KFUM to rest their players. You've seen the likes of Ackerling, the 2 anchor guards. Victorson have basically played the last 5 or so points in a row. I'm guessing they're just trying to rest up and try to punch these last few in and see if they can turn this game around.
Tactical timeout. I mean, it's a timeout when you've got a team that you're really rolling through your superstars. You need them on the field. These timeouts are very, very necessary. Give the break, get the same crew back out there, and I do think that that's what KFUM needs. They don't have a huge roster, and it does look like the top end of their roster drives at least the offensive portion of their game. So this timeout could be just what they need. Get those anger guards, the Zachalings, back on the field and see if they can steal this game away from what looked like a lost cause not so long ago.
Curious, Stefan, with this timeout, what's your opinion on timeouts in Ultimate as a coach? Do you like to? Some people use them in game when they're facing trouble. Some people have the philosophy, no, we shouldn't ever use the timeout in game. We should use our timeouts in between points to rest up, have some tactical decisions. What's your preferred usage of this?
Multi-turnover, I'll take an in-game timeout. On an initial possession, I would be upset with the player taking a timeout in game. But if it's multiple turnover, 2 or 3 turnovers, I especially like it. Like if an O-line gives it up, and then they play really, really hard D and a long D, like 2 minutes of D, and they get it back, take that timeout. Okay. That first throw, I'm happy to take that timeout. Otherwise, I reserve them for in-between points for momentum swinging.
Throwing power lines in.
Yes, exactly. Like if I need to, if my O-line played a good point but got broken and they got to go back out there, I'll give them a gas. I'll give them a break, a timeout for that. And otherwise, it's when momentum's going against us and we got to stop and think about things. Those are the toughest ones to take. Those are the ones, opponents cheer for when you take those timeouts.
I don't know if that disc was touched or not. If it was not touched, he could bring it to the front cone. If he did touch it on the roll, he would have to take it back where it rolled out.
They're pointing to the front cone.
I think Angergaard's questioning.
Did you touch it?
Did you touch it? He was close.
Was that our Austrian or Swedish accent?
I guess that was an Italian accent. I don't know.
Did you touch it?
Did you touch it? So I believe he did touch it, and now he's going to take it back in his end zone. So great opportunity for KFUM to put pressure here. Whole defense is set up, and he's going to have to set up in the middle of his defending end zone.
Good old Callahan country. Let's see if they can do something. The Catchup offense starting behind the goal line they're defending, and not anymore. I didn't touch it. I did touch it. I'm not sure if I touched it. I did touch it, but you need to walk 10 meters in both directions and do a walking cut.
Apparently, yeah, the travel was called, so they had to tap it back into play and then move away. That's the way the rules sorted out, threw themselves out this time.
Backhand, that's a just get me out of jail free, or not free, get me out of jail card, but it costs them a possession. And Anger God's got the disc at half, but there's a conversation back at the point of the throw. So I'm not sure, but I speculate that would have been a foul on the throw, because that's where the conversation seems to be happening.
Yes, we see the reenactment. Big fan of reenactments, saying that the arm came down on the other arm. That may have affected the path of that disc, so a little bit of discussion. An uncontested foul, so this count will reset to 1. And we'll get to restart that one.
Back at it, they're still starting from behind their goal line. We are still in Callahan country. We are still knotted up at 12s. And Catchup Graz have a second chance to get it out of their end zone, but there's nothing in the swing space. That is a Callahan! It's happened. They were in Callahan country, and they chopped one in. KFUM take their first lead of the game on a Callahan, Ravi.
This is Jonathan Angergaard. He read that play super well. He saw he was guarding the front of the stack, and his player had to come back as the handler cleared out, and then his player cut up the line. And he saw that his mark was going to handle that, and so he kind of stayed hanging out there just a little bit in the space, and then as that swing pass came, he just read it perfectly. Great play from the young Angergaard to give KFUM the lead, and it was 5-9 at some point for Catchup, and all of a sudden they're looking the other way here, Stefan.
This one is swinging in favor of KFUM. I would say right now KFUM are residing comfortably in the heads of Catchup Graz. They are there. That point there was nothing. There was nothing. They generated 0 cuts. There was maybe a deep cut or two, but the thrower didn't want it, especially after the errant throw that the foul was called on that brought it back. And there was no swing, there was no dump. They were all upfield. They were all well guarded underneath. And, well, that's the result when you're playing 7 meters back of your end zone. You got nothing, you throw Callahan's.
Don't touch that roll and pull if you can't stop it, Stefan. That was really what started that whole turnover, is that he had to start 7 meters back in his end zone. And
tackle the pull or let it go.
Exactly. Especially on these turf fields, those discs are going to roll pretty far. So
yeah,
definitely gave KFUM the chance to just set up their defense and clamp down. And Catchup had nothing for it.
KFUM and Bruges playing the hits right till the end. I don't think my radio voice sounds any different than my commentating voice. Here they come. Catchup Graz. Can they stop the bleeding? On their own sideline, Geisel needs to be heroic at this stage. Gets it to Kleinapple.
See that Ackerling zone back out there. Last point was a bit more person-to-person, but the zone has generated breaks for KFUM before.
Geisel, they're moving it now. Bodenstein gets it forward. Now the zone settles. Oh, but a nice break back to Geisel, middle of the field, inside the brick mark. This is the end zone offense, but they're still seeing a zone. So you can't really switch fully into your end zone when the zone is still in front of you. You've got to chip away, and they're chipping backwards for the time being. Ooh, nice break again. That's the second nice break out of 77. Bodenstein gets a touch, and again, through the middle. And now Geisel has all sorts of space, The zone taking time to reestablish, but Cutter's not moving. There's one in the back corner there as he thought about it. And now he went at the wrong time, but the tip was not enough by Angergaard, and it miraculously gets there to tie the game back up at 13.
We got 13-13, 82 minutes left. The cap has not gone on, so my calculations are correct. We're playing at 15 no matter what. Next point will definitely happen before next point has already started before the Hooters, so the cap will not go on before somebody scores 14. We're playing this one out till the end, Stefan, as you predicted a little while ago, and even though there were quite some sloppy points, things have cleaned up a bit in the later stages of the game.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's getting tidier with the intensity. You know, intensity will can wreak havoc on your game. It can make it very sloppy. It can tidy it up. In this game, I think both O-lines have responded well to the intensity and the gravity of the situation, the desperation to get this win, and they have tidied up. We were talking apple turnovers, peach turnovers not so long ago, and the last couple points have been a lot more tidy. We're seeing a lot less turnovers. We're seeing patience with the disc, a bit better vision with disc in hand. And I say that, a bit better vision with disc in hand, but that last goal, the throw to score, was a little bit lucky. We'll give there was a little bit of luck on the bounce side of that one.
All right, so 13-13, KFUM with the advantage here. If they hold out, they will win this game, but Catchup going to try and say something about that.
They are Catchup desperate for a break. Maximum, they're going to get 2 pulls, so they've got 2 opportunities to get this break.
I don't think Angergaard's coming off the field for the rest of this game. I'm not sure he's been off the field the whole second half.
I don't think so either. Angergaard to Angergaard. No surprise. And we're going to get a bit more Angergaard here. Wind up, holster. Now wind up and given. Too far in front. That is a huck and hope. That's a huck and D. So Catchup. We were talking. They're not going to get many chances to break, but they've got one here. If they can put this one in, it could be a game stealer. They may not get many chances, but if they put this one in, they could seal the deal. Take the lead back with only 1 to go, and let their defense win the game.
Interesting to say. I mean, Catchup has been playing with pretty much their full team. KFUM playing with basically 3 or 4 players playing every point. That fatigue will set in at the end of this game, or can those players really hold it out? This is a really tough ask for these KFUM stars that have been in basically the whole second half.
But at this stage, they need that win. They got to play it out. I don't think they're going to be making any changes. But like you said, will that be a difference maker? Will the fresher legs of Catchup walk them through, or will the better rhythm that's been established from KFUM walk them through to the finish line? Only time will tell, but not that much anymore. Here comes Meschner. Catchup. Felix Meschner with the disc. A stoppage on the play. It looks like a bit of contact on the mark. The conversation continues. And Meschner goes, tipped, bobble, dropped. KFUM. Backhand, dump. Angergaard. Whoa, he waited a long time for that, but did catch up. I thought he just forgot about it. And we don't need that one. Yes, we do need it. Oh my God, he gets it back. Angergaard. The stack is motionless, except for one, and that's all he may need. Kept his toes, walks it in. Number 66, Felix Anderson, and it's looking bleak for Catchup now. They had their chance, squandered. They need a double break or nothing now.
No, first they got a hold. They get a chance for a hold now. They get to start on offense. So if they get the hold, then they get to start the universe point on D. And some people say they like to start universe point on D. I wouldn't say it's over for Catchup quite yet, Stefan. They got a chance here. And will fatigue set in, or will those Angergaard stars and Ackerling be able to just push this one out for KFUM? That's going to be my question for the end of this game.
Yeah, you're right. I had that assessed all wrong with the double break. The hold is what they need first. Any which way, KFUM, now all they need is a break or a hold. It does look like they're resting Angergaard.
Well, KFUM is taking a timeout.
Okay, not resting. They've taken the timeout.
He's resting during the timeout. Will he rest on the next point? Probably not.
No way. I do not see it happening. So back in Bruges, we got the next game on this field does look like it is Valkyria and Shout warming up.
I believe Hannah Pendlebury and Chopo will be giving you the spicy Italian takes.
Wonderful to get Giovanni Santucci back on the cans, back on the mic. It was great to, it sucks that he's commentating because it means he's injured and he's not playing. But as he's injured and not playing, it's great to have him have him in the commentary booth. He brings some great energy, great voice, and of course when he's doing the Italian teams, some great information as well. He knows everything about what's happening in Bologna, of course.
It's 14-13. KFUM just have to punch one more in. They would prefer to do it on this point. I think receiving on Universe is a lot of pressure, especially this game has gotten a bit sloppy sometimes. We do see Santucci there coming across the bottom of the camera, ready to commentate the next game. I'm sure it'll be completely unbiased.
Completely unbiased.
You'll have no bias in the next game.
I was lucky enough when I was in Bologna to learn why Chopo got the nickname Chopo. So maybe in the next game he'll share that information with the viewers, or maybe it's just special for me. But I'm not about to share it yet. I feel special still. So
I think you're special too. Still.
We'll see if he gives up that information. That's all that matters. I think I'm special. Ravi thinks I'm special. What more do I need, really? Well, maybe if Santucci thought I was special too, that would really top things off here.
Ackerling to pull. We're back in action here in Bruges. 14-13. Catchup in kind of a do-or-die situation. They lose this game, might be out. KFUM trying to suffocate their hopes.
And here we go. Gainer straight into a D. KFUM with a chance to put this one away. Ackerling goes hammer. Not going to get there, though. That one gets knocked away. 27 knocks that one to ground. That's Breitenhalle. Says, no, not quite yet. It's not going to end like this. And Catchup, they really got to put it together. One throw possession last time. Not enough. Geisel winds up, sends it deep. That one's short, though, into turf. At least it's into turf at the other end of the field. At least.
At least. Interesting that KFUM, I think, in the first possession they played zone, the second possession they went to individual, and now KFUM with another chance to put this game away.
Here comes KFUM blading into the stack. Ackerling can't have it. And now Geisel has a short field with Catchup grass. Can they punch one in? That one into traffic. Oh, up and over, and KFUM take it away again. Drop back to the dump space. Wind up for the Huck. Doesn't get it. Gets the under on the near sideline. And they're using that near sideline for all of their resetting right now. There seems to be nothing, no looks inside, and then they really love that near sideline so much, they threw it right onto the near sideline. Catchup grabs with another short field.
You love sidelines that much? I don't think I've ever loved a sideline enough to throw it right to it. That's interesting strategy there by KFUM.
Yeah, not what they wanted. They obviously the defense tightened up. This one could tie it up. We are on Universe Point. What a flip-flopping game. Turnovers, flip-flops, a little bit of everything, but we get to 14 apiece, and it's anyone's game now, but KFUM will receive and get the first chance.
At some point in this game, it was 9-5 Catchup's away. They had a chance to make it 10-5, and all of a sudden, we're at a Universe Point situation with KFUM in the driver's seat. Catchup, I believe, calling a timeout here, which if Catchup called this timeout, I would call that questionable. You don't want to give KFUM a chance to rest their players. They're tired, they're making mistakes. Make them go out there immediately and try and put in a fresh line, fresh D-line to get that win. But as it is, the deeper squad maybe giving KFUM, maybe KFUM called the timeout. It's really hard for us to tell here. But
I agree with your questionability about the timeout if it did come from Catchup.
If it was KFUM, I'm totally for it.
Yes.
Usually not, though. Usually I wouldn't want to call a timeout before an 0-point Universe point.
But in
in this situation, I agree with KFUM on their call if it was them.
They're running 7 players. They're running 8, 9, 10 max in the second half of this game. Everything they've done to get ahead, they want those players back on the field, and they deserve a break. So if they called it, validated. If Catchup called it, oh, goodness me.
Goodness me indeed.
So clap, clap. Here we go. KFUM could extinguish.
Looking around the divisions, Grit beat Glory Owls 15-1. Stefan Potts is going to have to go to prepare for his next game. I'll finish this universe point out for you here as we get ready for the end of this round. Thank you, Stefan. So I'm here, Rivas-Daven. We'll finish this game out for you. It's 14-14. KFUM from Sweden against Catchup from Austria. All comes down to one more points. Geisel to pull for Catchup. Pull goes up, big blading pull. They're going to hope that comes back in bounds, otherwise it's going to be a very short field for them to work with. Looks like it is blading in. Jonathan Angergaard to pick up. Trying a split stack. Able to get the open cut underneath. That's Victorson, back to Angergaard. Angergaard goes for it deep. This could be the game. And it's Deed. It's number 7, Johannes Kaufmann with the D for Catchup, but there seems to be a call on the field. To my eyes, it was a very clean defense, but some players coming over to see if we can help them out with the replay, but don't have that going quite yet here on the second streaming field. So it's going to have to just stay within the players to discuss it. Now joined by Giovanni Chopo Santucci to help us out with this Uniforce point game. It's Catchup were in the lead most of this game, Chopo, and then KFUM came back in the second half. Right now it's a long discussion about a defensive play. Did you see anything yourself there?
Yeah, it was just, first of all, good morning to everyone. Good afternoon, almost. I was just standing right outside the tent of the commentator, and actually I cannot tell you exactly either if it was I think it was a strip call, but you know, when strip happens, you never know if the push of the defender actually pushed away the disc or it was an actual strip. It's always tough to say, even if it's a universe.
So on universe, this disc, I believe, will be contested. Go back to the hands of Jonathan Angergaard, the star player, who has not taken a single point off this whole second half.
Wow.
And most of the first half as well.
I hope they have a less intense game after, so he can rest a bit.
This game is a key game for both teams, trying to get out of the pool into the bracket. He goes for the long again.
Ooh.
This one's a layup catch. What a
my
grab
God.
by number 71, Adam Blomgren. He wins the game for KFUM.
Wow. What are the chances of getting the disc back and trying again the same play?
After being down 9-5, KFUM come back and win the game against Catchup. The Austrians must be very disappointed after that performance. What are your final thoughts here, Chopo?
I mean, I just saw a couple of points of this game, but the intensity was there. And actually, as soon as I arrived, I thought that Catchup had the upper ends, but KFUM really put the work in and hucked it right into the universe point.
Okay, that'll do it for this pool play round. KFUM from Sweden getting the win over Catchup Graz. Up next on this field, we're going to have Valkyria versus KUSB Shout. A great matchup. Valkyria beat Fabulous 15-7, looking very strong. KUSB, of course, the title contenders, reigning champions from the last UCF. So stick around for that here on ULTI.TV. For Chopo, for Steph Rapazzo, I've been Rivas-Daven. We'll see you in the next game.
Bye-bye.